So I literally just said this. This is how we're going to start off the episode.
Stop playing with that thing.
I've just got
I
to...
to adjust this. Give me the sequence calculations.
Now!
Now!
Give me the solar disc.
They're already done.
Are we sure? What is he signing? That's what I want to know. It's like a contract not to sue them if he's lost in time.
I don't think he's signing something.
He totally just signed something.
All right, yeah, he wasn't filling out a form. Like, okay, this did this.
I wonder if it will be raining. Stand by.
Everyone stand by.
How does he know he's not going to go through naked? Or when he comes out, he's
How does he know it's going to work at all?
I think this is a little early.
Hey, Hitler!
I'm sorry, a little late to get Hitler.
Herr Hitler.
Da, was ist gut?
Was ist los? Ich habe keine Zeit hier rumzustehen.
Ja,
Ich bin.
ich verstehe.
And how does this kill Hitler? Or is it just erase him from history?
Maybe you're not supposed to touch anyone or anything when you go back in time.
Like it's a feedback or something?
Yeah, like it's... Maybe he's with a dinosaur right now.
Hitler is...
Hitler is out of the way.
Congratulations!
Congratulations, Professor. With Hitler removed,
Time will tell.
time will tell.
Sooner or later,
Sooner or later,
time will tell.
time will tell.
No March.
Alright, so... First introduction to Red Alert, the sequel, sort of. A spin-off sequel to Command and Conquer.
It's an alternate history.
Sort of.
No, it's an alternate history. It's a what if Hitler... What if we did this and there was no Hitler?
I know, but in relation to the main storyline,
It's less fictitious.
because Kane is technically present in the Red Alert universe as Stalin's advisor.
Not technically.
He is!
Not merely technically, though.
Oh, you bastard. Well, either way. Let's see, if I remember correctly, I think at the time I had borrowed the original Command and Conquer, the same relative was playing Red Alert. But, you know, I could not deal with that much Command and Conquer at the same time.
No, you couldn't.
So, if I remember correctly, I think it was Keith, who I also had told about, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
He had actually bought the game, and he had lent me the Soviet disc.
Soviet!
Because the game came with two discs, the Allied campaign on the Allied CD and Soviet on the Soviet.
And you needed 2 discs for that. You couldn't just put it on one.
But he was in the middle of the Allied campaign, so he's like, here, you can play the Soviet campaign while I finish this. Like, alright, I prefer the Allies, because as a kid, I want to be the goody little two-shoes.
Yeah.
I was like, whatever. So, my parents still had a old computer. We had Windows 3.1.
Yo.
So basically, at this point in time in the world, which I think is Red Alert's 96, 97? 96.
Yeah.
Yeah, 96.
Sounds about right.
Windows 95 was the industry standard. And this is the point where, in my little world, where a lot of games did not run on my computer. You know, I'd be like, wow, this game looks so cool. And I'd be like, minimum requirement, Windows 95.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, my mom refused to upgrade adamantly. Like she
Red
knew
Alert
she
had a
was-
DOS version.
So I had borrowed the Soviet disc from my friend Keith, and I had brought it home, hoping that would work, because supposedly it was DOS compatible. Which, if you don't know what DOS is, I don't know what the hell you're watching this for. So I installed the game, booted up, and for a solid 60 seconds, black screen. And I was so upset, I thought the game was not working. But sure enough, for the DOS version, when you install it, the first time you boot it up, it takes a full minute to load. Then this looking little logo showed up, and I was like, ah!
Good times.
Now, did I lend it to you, or
You might have, but I owned it. I know that.
you did at one point?
Yeah, I either played it or borrowed it from you first, but I definitely bought it later.
Because I remember I gave you a bunch of PC games at one point that I
Yeah.
was done with. I
But-
was like, here you go.
But the thing is, my computer still had Windows 3.1, 3.0 at the time.
Rob's computer was even more ghetto than
Yeah,
ours.
and this isn't 1996 when this game came out. This was like 1998, 1999. There was no excuse to not have even Windows 95. But it was more expensive back then, you know. And which is fine. So I got the game. I bought it. But I couldn't hear sound on my thing because I didn't have the right sound card, or the sound card wasn't detected, or whatever.
Played the entire game muted, basically.
Yeah, so I played the game and beat it without having ever heard any of the sounds. I couldn't tell what they were saying in the cutscenes. If my base was under attack, I just had to know visually, either by radar or just by looking at the base. And so this was really hard, especially in that one mission where you have to go, you go into into that place to disarm the nukes, and you're only given like 15 guys when you're the allies.
That's a later game, I think, or a later mission, right?
Yeah, that was really hard because I couldn't hear anything. My guys were getting shot, and you only have a finite amount. I couldn't make more, so it happened. I beat the game, but I don't know how. I could never. I don't think I could do that again.
So, how does the sequel get you revved up for itself? Is what I'm trying to say. How do you get somebody revved up, like hyped for the sequel? The answer,
Meaning this is a sequel.
this is it.
No,
All right,
this
it's not
first
a chronological
It-
sequel,
yeah.
but in terms of
It's a
games.
franchise sequel.
Yes, franchise sequel. How do you get people hyped up about it? How do you get the player hyped up for Red Alert? The answer is
Propaganda.
the intro. Dun, 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 dun. What is Command and Conquer Red Alert to a player in the age of the 90s? How do you they should spend money on another Command and Conquer game? How do you tell the former fan that to buy this?
Put in
You know
naval
how-
units.
You know how you do it? You advertise Red Alert as being the game of more everything. More badass scenes, more fucking buildings, more construction, more units, more destruction. Grrr.
There are
You
also,
can build naval shit.
except we're the Soviets. The only thing you have is the submarine.
I'm a transport.
Oh yeah, everyone has a transport.
Not to mention a kick-ass soundtrack. Hellmarch is like the definitive soundtrack, or singular soundtrack, that survives to the other Red Alert games. Dude! That effect is amazing.
And probably has
The
the.
first Allied mission.
Oh, you're here. I'm Von Helsing or whatever his name is. I think it is Von Helsing.
Commander,
So last transmission?
all 900 hours.
You can really tell that the budget got increased, but not substantially, but just
You would have
enough.
contacted us by now. This is
Tanya.
classified.
I know.
I sent for her.
General
She's
Professor,
American,
she's a
but
civilian.
America is
That's why I
nowhere
get killed.
involved.
Commander, this is Tanya Adams, professional.
You know what? It's hard to tell, but I would totally hit that back then.
No,
she looks hot.
Nah,
To
she
this
was.
very poorly animated.
She wasn't attractive like the second one.
Yeah, but that one was trying. This one, she was just some girl that wasn't trying to be hot.
Get Tanya inside, so she can get Einstein out. Once you have located him,
She actually has
bring
abs.
him back to your drop.
Look at that
point
shit,
for
man.
complete Evacuation.
Evacuation.
The base is heavily fortified, but not invincible.
Their weakness is power. Black out the base and nothing will stop you.
Good luck. Alright, so. The very first mission of Command & Conquer Red Alert.
I'm excited now. Now I want to play the game. I might I don't even know if I still have the discs. And if I did,
In this age, it doesn't matter.
my MacBook doesn't even have a disk drive.
In the age of the internet, Rob, it does not matter if you have the disc. Alright, so. I just want to show everyone.
What was that? Oh, I forgot it had a Blade Runner fucking thing beforehand.
The intro.
Yeah!
So,
That's the Soviet mission. I want the Allied mission.
Oh, the yaks.
Yakety yak! Don't talk back. Fucking yaks couldn't hit shit. Unless you ordered them to attack the ground right before the unit you wanted to kill. Or no, right after. Oh, this is all the new shit. Where's the original?
You will bow
Here we
before
go.
the empire of the rising sun.
Alright, so, this is the very first mission if you're playing the Allied, the good guys. Something that I think is genius about this is it almost mirrors the very first mission in the original Command and Conquer.
Yeah.
Except it's mirrored. You're starting from the top instead of the bottom. You still have naval support of a battle cruiser down below.
That
which
you
you'll
can't
probably see-
control.
That you can't control, but it's still fucking up the base. But this is a game of more. It gives you more of everything. You start off the very first
Ooh, the
mission
tech headquarters.
with more. You start off with a fucking commando, Tanya, who's fucking badass.
Cha-ching!
And I don't know about this, man. This is pretty crazy.
Chew on this!
This backstory.
I always thought that was genius looking back. How the first mission was quite literally a throwback to the very first game of with the first mission. So it's familiar but different enough. Like when you play the first mission, what the hell are those Christmas trees? What the hell is this thing? I mean, the power plants are already taken out by the battle cruiser, so thankfully you don't have to find out the painful way. But at the time you're like, these things can't stop me. I'm
And
fucking invincible.
They destroy infantry like that.
Yeah.
Just instantly. And they don't need to recharge that much if they're just killing infantry.
I think they get 2.5 shots per infantry.
Yeah.
Or is it overall? It's been a long time.
They need more for taking out
It'll be like,
tanks and the like.
whoop.
But then again, allied tanks are not as well armored.
So, why was this game amazing? As I said, personal opinion, this is the game of more. Take everything that people loved about the first game and just crank up the more. Give more of everything.
You have grenadiers and riflemen.
There were grenadiers in the original, but
Yeah, there were. And I think in this game now you get medics.
you can now recycle characters with medics
Yeah.
and mechanics with the add-ons.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, the aftermath and everything. They
Counter
had
Strike and
they had the field mechanic. But only GDI had and only the Allies had the field mechanic. But you no longer had to rely on a service depot.
True. So on the topic of more, the Allies now have, well, let's just call them the goody little two-shoes. The good guys now have the pillbox, the camo pillbox, and the gun turret for defense. And the AA turret for specifically air.
Oh yeah, which only works on that. But it's actually very, very destructive.
Whereas the Soviets have the flame tower, the SAM site, and the ungodly powerful Tesla coil of
Yeah.
doom and death and destruction. We
Yeah.
should have talked about the Obeliska light in the other video.
Yeah, and how you actually incorporated it into a game that we played.
Yeah, a spin-off, basically. It's
That
like,
we played like as like an art. What would you call that?
I don't even know.
Like a half-ass Magic the Gathering without cards, where you would roll a dice or rock paper scissors or odds and evens.
What?
That we used that the Obelisk of Light. It was like you made something when we had one of those days where we did nothing in 7th grade.
Oh my god!
Remember that?
Oh, unfortunately I do. It was the ghetto D&D shit.
Yeah, it was more like a Dungeons and Dragons type of thing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we used rock, paper, scissors to determine outcomes. It was bad. Yeah, I think we're taking the SAT. No, the kiddie version of the SATs, because we're still grammar school.
Cat tests.
Cat test, yeah. Anyway, so red alert. If you're the Allies, what is the story? I barely remember this shit.
What do you mean?
the story of the Allies. They're
trying to contain the Soviet aggression.
That's the basics. There's no. That's about it, huh? Dang.
Europe is falling apart. America is curiously absent.
Yeah, you know what? That's true. We are AFK.
Mm-hmm.
I forget. There's probably a reason.
I mean, presumably the same shit was happening, so it was still an alarming thing.
You know what? There's probably some lore that's like off the books, or like it was in a booklet or like little side note. It's like, oh, America got nuked or something.
No, because they were in the second one.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's completely consistent with the first storyline where they put in Romanov after this
as the
war.
puppet government.
Yeah, and then Yuri comes about, and so maybe we're led to believe that there's some support from America because Tanya is American.
You know what? Maybe it's supposed to be like how World War II happened, where initially we were not actually actively engaging, but we were just kind of like setting supplies
maybe it never,
and shit.
yeah, maybe it never really happened. There was no Pearl Harbor, so
Yeah.
there's no.
You will bow. That's later on. Wrong game. 2 games from now.
Which actually got really good. That Red Alert 3 was definitely the StarCraft of the Red Alert games because it took. It made all the sides hyper specialized in what they did.
Yes.
But yeah, back to the regular Red Alert.
So, as Rob correctly remembered, it's the Allies are just trying to contain Soviet aggression. I think it comes down to just England initially.
It's England, Germany,
France,
and France, and presumably, but you can't play as them.
Except in
Greece.
Greece. Greece.
Because General Stavros is Greek, so presumably that's...
All right, fair enough. And if you're the Soviets, you're naturally trying to take over the world. Of course.
Yeah, so so we can rightly presume that most of Europe, especially Western Europe, is against the Soviets.
But they've already been taken over at this point.
We could rightly presume that Eastern Europe has been compromised. There's no There's no Lithuania.
If you're playing the Allies campaign, you're basically trying to retake Europe, and if you're the Soviets, you're trying to conquer what's left of it.
Yeah. So you could presume that Ukraine and Poland are already done so.
Sad face.
Yeah. Which always happens to Ukraine immediately whenever Russia gets its foreign policy bearings. We could rightfully presume that Russia has Ukraine under its thumb.
So unlike the Command and Conquer universe, resources are, as you can see in this little corner up here, it's just ore. It's just like metal and shit. And both sides have the same ore collector. There's nothing unique about it.
It regenerates gradually, but not like
Very
the Tiberian.
slowly.
Not like the Tiberian does.
It regenerates fast enough where you still need to expand to get more of it, but you can still fall back on old resource that you've depleted previously. You'll probably get like a couple 100 credits out of what's regenerated.
And it doesn't kill infantry.
Yes. And there's also the gems.
Bless you.
Oh, scusi.
That you occasionally find in the fields that are worth more. And then there are the oil derricks that you can sometimes capture.
Not an original.
Oh, that was until 2?
Yeah. This was ores or bust. Ugh. Yeah. Personally, I always preferred the Allies. Like, if it came down to like a skirmish.
Yeah, because you had to strategize. You couldn't just do the frontal assault when it came to the Allies, unless you used the light tank rush. You build a couple divisions of those things.
Artillery tanks.
You needed distance for that. But the thing is, with the light tanks, you could build a couple divisions of those and rush a base and basically take out most of its main shit, including the construction yard, which was kind of the holy grail if you're playing something.
Yeah, in most Command and Conquer games, you destroy the construction yard.
You fuck them.
It probably means you've already won. There's in most circumstances you've already won.
Unless they have an MCV hidden somewhere on the map.
That's true. But rule of thumb: if you destroy their construction yard, the day is yours.
And the day is mine.
What I also like is both sides have their own version of long-range fighting. The Allies have the artillery tank, which has almost no health, and by itself
Yeah,
it dies
it is
really
not
instantly.
armored. It can, basically consider it like a Geo Prism with, an extremely explosive incendiary shell cannon on top.
But versus infantry that are far away or buildings, it wrecks their shit.
Yeah, you could probably destroy a war factory in one volley with like 3 or 4 of them.
Easily.
Yeah.
Whereas the
war factories are surprisingly lightly armored, though. You'd expect them to be.
And the Soviets have the V2, I think it's called, the V2 launcher,
Yep.
which is basically a variant of the artillery tank, except it has a lot of hit with only one for like
And-
every minute.
Yeah.
Like it'll shoot one giant missile that's gonna hurt if it hits, but then it has to take a full minute to recharge.
Can it get shot down?
The missile itself? No.
Yeah.
Not that I recall. So what the Soviets would end up doing is they could do hit and runs with the V2s, which is really annoying when you're playing the computer.
Yeah. As long as they have like a couple tanks and some infantry walking along with it, they can protect it pretty well.
Like the V2 can one-shot a pillbox. If it's a regular pillbox, it gets one-shotted on the spot. And if
Yeah.
you have a group of
Two will destroy pretty much any structure.
any defensive structure.
Any structure. And,
Oh,
most
not-
of your base structures, I think, two.
So a lot of them, not
Yeah.
all of them.
Not the construction yard, but pretty much anything else.
But if you have a group of like 20 infantrymen grouped together, one V2 missile, bam, 90% dead. Mm-hmm. Plus it had, I think it has double the health of the artillery. Yeah.
Easily. It's not well armored though either.
So in that sense, both sides had the same ability, but different ways of deploying that ability.
Mm-hmm. But also the thing is with artillery, it reloaded more quickly, and it could. If even one infantry unit is within a modest distance of a V2,
It's over.
the V2 has had it.
Yeah.
But with the artillery could probably outmaneuver it for a little bit and destroy it because those shells are good against pretty much anything you can throw at them. Infantry,
Heavy armor will
Heavy
not
armor.
take anything.
yeah.
But by the time the heavy tank is pulled up to the artillery, it's over.
Yeah, but the presumably the artillery was
Would
hitting
be-
it the whole time.
Not if it's 1v1, the heavy tank takes it
Okay.
easily.
Nice and spicy. Ooh, monkey.
Oh, well, was IFK. I'm gonna just some random thoughts. How along the lines of both sides having the similar abilities but deploying them differently, they both have they both have defensive structures which are radically different. The original Command and Conquer, the GDI had the guard towers and advanced guard towers. The Nod had the gun turret and the giant fucking obelisk of Rape You Light. So, in this, the Allies have the pillbox, which is basically a machine gun nest, the camouflaged pillbox, which is the same thing but a little heavily armored, and the gun turret, which is identical to the Nod version. The Soviets have the unique defensive positions with the flame tower, which I never liked, which fires a giant fireball, which does decent damage, but it has to hit you. And most vehicles can kind of just move away from it and only take modest damage. But they have this motherfucker right here. The fucking Tesla coil. Tesla coils are badass. Surround that shit with concrete walls and they'll fuck up everything. Unless you have like a swarm of tanks. Basically all infantry will die instantly. Lightly armored vehicles will either die instantly or lose 90% of their health instantly. Your only chance basically is a swarm of tanks, or, and this is key, similar to the Obelisk of Light in the Nods version, in the original Command and Conquer, the key to these guys is the power. So, part of the strategy is actually to temporarily or permanently destroy the power plants in order to render these things obsolete, basically. So if there's a bunch of power plants over here, but the Tesla coil is here, and your objective is here, you destroy the power plants first to disable this, and before the enemy can rebuild or repair, you destroy the Tesla coil. Which, I know in modern day sounds stupidly simple, but for the 90s, this was amazing. This was actual strategy. Deploy that to how many fucking missions were there in the Command & Conquer Red Alert games? Let's just say 30. 30 or 40. A mix. Let's see. Alright. My spelling is terrible. We're going to move to Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike basically was a mix, basically just extra missions for both sides. Nothing too groundbreaking. But the key thing was it gave you a little bit extra building abilities. If I remember correctly, the Soviets got tank for the first time, which is very lightly armored, but put it behind a couple of concrete barriers, and it could supplement the Tesla coil against larger forces. I forget what the Allies got, actually. I want to say the demolition truck, but I think both sides got that, which is basically a nuke on wheels. And Counter-Strike wasn't anything groundbreaking. It was just... Let's put it this way. The original Red Alert was the more of everything you love. So take everything, improve on it just a little bit, or some cases a lot, and then give you more of it. Counter-Strike is just basically another slab of beef on your cheeseburger.
Talking about Counter-Strike and what's the other one? Aftermath. Yeah.
Aye.
That's the first instance in English of that word for me. So I always associated it with this game.
Yeah, I was basically saying how Counter-Strike was more of what you wanted, but it was just that. There was no major improvements. It was just extra missions and maybe an extra unit here or there.
Yeah, if I can remember off the top of my head, the mobile radar jammer.
That's the one I was thinking of
for the Allies, as well as
and
the
Tesla tank for the Soviet.
We got more than that. It was
Demo truck
demo
for
truck.
both sides.
The field mechanic.
No, that was Aftermath.
Oh, I'm thinking about both just together.
No, I was thinking about Counter-Strike first.
And then
Because they were sold as two separate boxes.
Yeah, they were. I got them together.
You bastard.
Yeah.
I bought mine separately at CompUSA for $19.99.
And then there was in the other one there was the Soviets finally got
the attack sub,
something that had first strike capability. In fact, the booklet said realizing their navy lacked first strike capability, the Soviets built the attack sub.
I think that might have been Aftermath.
Chrono tank, that too.
That's Aftermath.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of Aftermath was the pinnacle of the original Red Alert. Like you said, realizing that they're lacking in one area, they improved upon it.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. That shows learning. I mean, it's still specialized, but at least it's an attempt at learning for your particular side.
And the chrono tank could chrono shift, and it had that crappy missile launcher. Wasn't very well armored.
Yeah, unless you got like 3 or 4 chrono tanks to get behind enemy lines and destroy like 3 or 4 power plants, they're pretty much tokens.
Yeah. But they kept going with the chronosphere.
The second one, the chronosphere doesn't suck.
Yeah.
It's not pointless. In the first one, you can transport one whole unit wherever you want. And you can't even like load up an APC.
And it goes back eventually too, doesn't it?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. You know, I don't want my chronosphere, yeah.
While you were AFK, I was saying how like the Obelisk Light and the Tesla coils were really powerful, but had the unique weakness of needing power.
Yes. Guard towers didn't need that. Neither did pillboxes.
So that was a strategy aspect, which at the time was groundbreaking.
It was. It's pretty good.
So for the Aftermath, the chrono tanks, which specifically are for getting behind enemy lines and destroying those power plants which are off in the distance, supplying the Tesla coils. Aftermath also had the field mechanic, so the Allies could recycle their vehicles without paying for it with the service depot.
Which was very useful especially if you had light tanks. Because they were pretty light.
It was also useful for the missions where you could not build anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes you get a mission where you have an outpost, but you can only build infantry and vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
So you basically need to recycle everything.
It was a good game.
I remember how in covert operations for the original game,
Mm-hmm.
if you put one of the nod mission was like the Chem Warriors, it was just a bunch of flame units, but they were recolored to be green. It's like, here, take our Chem Warriors for a test drive. I think that was the mission name, test drive.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but it was just flame. You got 2 flame tanks and a bunch of flame thrower guys, and they were just recolored to color green. They had the same stats and everything, but you know, when as a kid, you're just like, whoa.
Creative.
So yeah, Aftermath just added on just enough to keep the franchise going for the original game. I believe it was Counter-Strike that introduced rule changes for the average user. There's one mission called Paradox Equation for Counter-Strike. If I'm not mistaken, is it Counter-Strike or Aftermath?
Mm-hmm.
Is one of the new missions where they're due to a malfunction of the chronosphere that the Soviets are trying to capture. All units now have unique attributes. So now your heavy tank is a Tesla tank. So it has, you know, it'll shoot out a fucking Tesla coil attack instead of a standard tank round.
Mm-hmm.
And fucking the V2 fires a nuclear bomb. Except it can't fire it very far, so it becomes a suicide bomber. And has even less armor than before. So if it gets destroyed inside your base is fucked.
Yeah, most def. That's why you gotta get rid of your demolition truck. And,
You don't build it in the first place.
Yeah.
Another one was the Something Revolution, where you're the Soviets tasked with destroying the local civilian base.
Oh, yeah.
And you start out the mission with 2 heavy tanks and 2 mammoth tanks. And this one civilian starts running towards you after you shoot the church. Again, with the fucking churches. He says, down with the Soviet Union! He bum rushes the tank and then blows up a nuclear bomb. And you're just like, you get a message saying, whoa, whoa! Civilians are heavily armed. Get the fuck out of here. You get a fucking MCV and reinforcements. Then you besiege the civilian base, which it has everything. It's got Allied stuff. It's got Soviet stuff. You know, it's decked out. But as soon as you feel like you know the battle's in your favor, a message pops up saying the Stalin has sent his personal guard to finish the job. And at that point, you have to decide. No, I'm sorry. I take that back. When the mission's going in your favor, you have them trapped in their base, and you're slowly besieging it. They send out a message saying, "We are sending out our women and children in the trucks. Please let them go. They have not done anything." And you know it'll spawn 3 or 4 unarmored trucks.
Mm-hmm.
No guns on them, just regular trucks, like the demolition trucks, except without the nuke symbol.
Yeah, except these are.
Women and children, and you have to decide if you destroy them or not. And if you destroy them, you know, they're like, they were women and children. Why did you do that? And you're just a terrible person. But if you let them go, if you actually are a decent human being, let them go. A new message shows up saying Stalin has sent his personal guard to clean up your fuck up. And like 20 mammoth tanks come from the south. And at that point, the only way to win the mission is to destroy the mammoth tanks and spare the civilians.
Ah.
Yeah. It was one of those really weird, like, moral decision missions.
It just goes to show you that the Soviets are supposed to be the bad guys in all of this, and that you're like a gray
when you're
the
man.
player. Yeah, you are ultimately trying to make the bad guys less bad.
I mean, you're still trying to win a war, but Jesus
Kind of like
Christ,
how
man, don't kill the damn kids.
Kind of like how you're pit between Yuri and Premier Romanov in Red Alert 2.
Victory to the Soviet Union.
I am but a humble servant of the Soviet Union.
I think that's about all I got.
Meet my associate, Yuri.
the only other thing I can think of for the original Red Alert series, unless you got something.
I mean, they just kept going with it, and it improved a great deal. I got nothing. I have nothing bad to say about this game, other than
It could be kind of wonky sometimes.
yeah.
but-
Other than it was the first one. And they,
First Red Alert, at least.
yeah, Westwood kept going at it, and they kept putting out something. There's like it's like the Zelda games almost. It's like, no, they kept putting out something good.
Well, to close out, the one weird thing I discovered was similar to the dinosaur missions and the covert operations. Like, years and years after I had beaten the original Red Alert, I found out there were secret ant missions for Red Alert. So naturally, I found my old Red Alert CD, booted it, reinstalled the game, booted it up.
On what?
I think we had Windows 98 at the time.
Yeah,
Or,
okay, so-
or XP. XP could do DOS. It didn't do DOS well, but it could still do DOS.
Mhm.
It was Windows 7 where it was like, DOS is no longer a thing. If I remember correctly. I could be wrong. But either way, I started off the mission thinking like, alright, I've played Command & Conquer Red Alert. I know how to play. I'll put this on hard. I fucking raped. The ants are a unique side. They only have, I think, 4 total units, but they all destroy you. They destroy the fuck out of you if you don't know what you're doing. You start off the first mission with like a handful of tanks and like some tanks and some infantry. You find an outpost, and you get attacked by fire ants, which shoots the fire tower equivalent of an attack. The fireballs. Except they're
Oh,
mobile.
yeah.
Except they're mobile.
Yeah, which
So-
are devastating to infantry.
Which, in ant missions, if you've never played them, infantry are the way to go, personal opinion. Except for fire ants, because they'll fuck your shit up. And there's the scout ants, which are melee based, but if they get close to any building or vehicle, within 3 hits, that thing is dead. Or it's going to be dead. So first mission is you find outposts and just survive for half an hour, which in the Red Alert universe is like 10 minutes. Because the timers are really, really wonky. Second mission, same base, except now you have to evacuate civilians from the surrounding areas, which the first time you do it, it's fucking hard because the ants are all warrior ants. So they're all melee based, but they are like scout ants on steroids.
So they're fast.
So they're armored, they're fast, and they will fuck your shit up if they get next to you. Third mission is you find out that there's a gas that kills the ants. So you're given scientists which look like Mobius from the original Command and Conquer. At least the little sprite.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Okay.
It's like, yes, incredible.
Yeah.
So you bring them up to an ant nest and they gas it. So you just have to gas like 8 ant nests around the map, which is fucking hard because all 8 of these nests are spawning warrior ants to fuck your shit up. And the final mission is a commando-esque mission.
You'd think that it would have ended with a queen ant. Like,
That's actually how it ends.
okay.
You find like an abandoned nuclear missile silo, and you send in Tanya and like a strike force.
Okay. They're eusocial, kind of like the xenomorphs.
The queen ant, she fucking has a Tesla coil attack. So, that's about all I got to say. Kane shows up in this universe somehow because he's fucking Kane. He only shows up as an advisor to Stalin in some cutscenes. Maybe even just one cutscene.
only at the end.
One
He-
cutscene?
He brings in the tea, and then the
He like
tea-
whispers something in his ear.
Yeah, and the tea poisons him, and it turns out that one of the advisors to Stalin was working with Nod, is a member of the Brotherhood of Nod the whole time. So presumably, this goes back further. Nod goes back further. Kane goes back further.
Well, thank you for listening to his rant. That's all I got.
Later.
Later, haters. I guess after this is Tiberian Sun, technically.
Yeah, that was definitely before.
Oof.
Actually, Red Alert 2 was 99.
No, it's definitely Tiberian Sun first.
Okay. I know Red Alert 2 was 99.
Either way. Thank you for listening.